So looking back on that game, you more encouraged by the play in the second half, or more frustrated by the first half?
I'm only frustrated because I still think we're very involved in the opponent's goals. And so we've got to somehow find a way to eliminate that. But I'm also so extremely encouraged by our ability to continue to fight and battle and find ways to win. And you look at the last goal that we scored, and that was as good a goal as you're going to see this year in the league in terms of just the overall play, the entry ball to Oba, the layoff, to Clint, the combination with Clinton and Chad. It was very, very good. So I'm very, very encouraged by our ability to compete and to fight and until the final, whistle blows.
Can you really build off a goal like that, where where you can kind of play into the next week or whatever?
Yeah, definitely. You always build off good moments, and hey, these are the good moments. We want to replicate those. We want to continue to work on that. So our spacing is still important. Our ability. I think guys have a better understanding now of where guys want the ball, when they want the ball. They know that okay, if I play the ball here and move, I've got a chance of getting the ball back again. So all of those are encouraging things.
Before the season, there's talk about the improved locker room chemistry or whatever, and one of the responses from players is the real test of it is when we face some adversity. Is this kind of a sign of that? Down 2 goals a couple weeks ago, down this game, and the ability of the team to rally.
Yeah, I think we've faced adversity, this year, and when you look at individual games, and being able to come back in Portland, is a big sign. Being able to come back in this game as well, is a good sign. Also, with a disappointing loss at home with Columbus when we lost that game, the way we lost it, the last second, a little bit, controversy there as to how that whole thing happened at the end of the game, and we rallied back again, losing at home against Toronto and then coming on the road and winning in Montreal. I think we've had different little hurdles and challenges placed in front of us, and we've coped with them pretty well.
When you got Clint last year, obviously he's a great player, but Clint from last year kind of getting rushed in here to where he's at this year. Do you see a big difference on the player on and off the field, I guess?
Well, huge difference. I mean, huge difference because of the fact that he was fit coming in this time around. His preseason was good. In terms of he had gotten games in with Fulham and had played there. Also with a coach like Magat coming in at the end, that probably helped push the fitness to its final point as well. So those are all positives. He was now coming back home rather than coming into a new situation. Last year, Seattle was a new situation. Where do I live? Where do I go to eat? Where's my house? How do I get to practice? All that. Now he's coming home. He knows where his house is. He knows how to get around to places. Those are all things that make you feel comfortable, and the players knowing him and the teammates knowing him, all that helps.
He doesn't seem to be targeted quite as much in the last few games, not as many foul attempts on him. Do you think the refs are protecting him better, or do you think he's maybe changed his mindset and going into games to put himself not in, I guess,
he still gets kicked, and he's still a player I think that needs to continue to be protected, because he's one of the guys that definitely I think gets fouled more than the average guy in this league. But Clint, and I had spoken as well, and Clint's taken the attitude of, look, I can't alter it within the game. I got to deal with it, and I've got to move on. And so that's what he's done. We've done a better job of getting him the ball in better spaces, and so that's avoided maybe some of the fouls where he's getting balls in bad places, under tight marking, and it makes it a little bit easier for the team to foul him.
As a coach, how do you help your player deal with a situation like that when they're getting unfairly targeted and fouled a lot?
Well, the thing is, it's important for players to know that A, you've got their back, and in Clint's case, Jurgen came out and made a statement, so I really didn't have to make a statement. You heard Porter make a statement on Nagby's behalf, and so forth, and that's something that you got to do sometimes as a coach. But for me, that happened, so I didn't have to risk a fine and make my own statement. But it's also a situation you want to let the referees know, and you try and let the fourth official know if you catch that in games. Sometimes you see different things. Like an example in the Dallas game, what they were doing is on their corner kicks they were trying to grab Marshall, even though he was a defender. So it wasn't like the defenders grabbing the attackers. When you watch replay of those corner kicks, you'll see how many times different players actually grabbed a hold of Marshall and tried to get Marshall from being able to head the ball ball clear. So now that's something you go into the next game and you sort of mention to the referee before the game, hey, watch these guys holding on to Marshall, and hopefully then he lends an eye to it, and that's a way that you can help your players.
Oba seems to be doing some of the thankless work. He's got 4 assists, but he's only got 1 goal. Are you happy with how he's playing, and is he doing some of the little things that really contribute?
I'm very happy with Oba because I think he's doing a lot of little things that don't show up on the scoreboard. And Clint's free kick was fantastic, but we've all seen occasions where that wasn't called a goal, but yet Oba was there for the rebound and put it into the goal. So it would have been a goal either way, and it would have been Oba's goal, and that showed a lot of persistence on his part. But there were a couple of through balls there where he fought for the ball, he held off his opponent. He's the layoff he gives to Dempsey prior to the 3rd goal where he's in there playing with his back to goal as a target. So he's doing a lot of that work, and I think his work for the team has been selfless, and he's been a very productive part and a very important part of our team.
On that note, so many guys on this team are so quick to take the spotlight off themselves and put it back on the team when you try and point out their individual accomplishments. How great is it over, coaching a club that has so many guys that are humble and want to focus on the team?
Well, it's a fantastic thing because the team is the important thing at the end, and the guys know that you're only as strong sometimes as your weakest link out on the field, and as a coach, what we try and do is make sure that our weakest link is as strong as possible because that makes us a better team, and as we continue to do that, we become stronger and stronger, and guys realizing that, hey, I can't get it done without your help, and you can't get it done without my help, is integral in order for us to go far when games are on that tipping scale. Are they going to go this way or that way? And I think that's why we've been able to respond well.
4 of the 6 games, I think, have had result-changing goals in the 85th minute or later. What kind of happens that late in a game, either physically or otherwise?
Well, obviously physically at that point people start to get tired, and sometimes mental mistakes happen and things like that, but it's also been a tribute, like I said, I think, to our character and our persistence that we're going to play through the end of the game. We're not going to stop playing at 90 or at 88, and so it's shown good. It's a reflection of good character for us, but it's also a reflection that our fitness is pretty good and we're able to maintain our concentration late, for the most part, Columbus being the exception.
We've seen some game-changing performances off the bench from you guys, whether it's Barrett in Kansas City, you see Papa, the last couple games, Nagel in Portland. Would you say this is the best depth you've had in terms of being able to get those kind of game changers into the game as subs?
Well, it's one of the things that we tried to work hard at. It's something that Chris Henderson and Kurt and Adrian and myself all worked at in terms of we want to have better options coming off the bench sometimes than we had last year. And I think we have that, and we have players who certainly in their minds feel that they're starters or right around there, and so when they're on the bench they're a little bit unhappy. Sometimes that's a little bit of extra motivation when the opportunity comes for them to step onto the field, and so we've had different people contribute. Barrett's obviously contributed now in a couple of games. Papa's come in a couple of games, contributed really well. Nagel came off the bench just like you said, so and again it's a reflection of their character, is that they're going to be disappointed when they're on the bench, but they're not going to hang their heads. They're going to come in and fight for the team and fight for their spot.
Along the same lines, how do you think Papa's responded after the Toronto FC match?
I think he's responded well. It took, I think, a little bit of time, but I think he's responded well, and his performances in the last 2 games I've been very happy with.
Barrett and Papa are both guys that have had key roles on good teams in this league. How important is it for those types of guys to buy in to a bench role, if that's what he asked for?
Well, it's important for everybody, not just for those guys. I know Barrett a little better, just because I've known Barrett for a long time, having coached him with the under-20s in 2005. Papa, I'm just getting to know. I know I had a long conversation with Carlos Ruiz before we got Papa, and I'd coached Carlos for a while, so I got a little bit of an insight into him there. But it's more a situation of everybody needs to buy into that and commit to that, and they're part of the group in that regard. And it's natural for everybody when you don't play or don't get that start that you're going to hang your head for a second. I mean, it's as a coach, you can't expect for them to walk around and say, hey, great, I'm not playing today. That's not going to happen. But what you want to see is after that initial initial thing happens, then what's their response? How do they respond there? And I think that's shown the character of those individuals at that point.
Does this look like the week y'all get Brad back, do you think?
He was able to go through all the training on Sunday. Went through a workout yesterday and a workout again today. Him and Rose, and so if they're okay tomorrow, I think they should be full on in on Thursday with good options to be able to be, in the team somewhere on Saturday.
And what are you seeing in Chivas this season?
What am I seeing in them? A much improved team. A team that's better organized, that has a better understanding within the players of their roles within the team. I think they've improved the depth of their team as well. So they're definitely a much tougher, club than they were last year. And obviously there's some people there that we know, and Mauro Rosales and Eriq Zavaleta. So it'll be a fun game.
How are those two doing?
Guys seem to be doing all right. Mauro seems to be doing well, and it's like I say, sometimes with salary cap and everything, you can't keep everybody. But and for Eriq, felt that the opportunity to play there as a defender was a thing that he wanted to take, and he's gotten a lot of games. So.
So did you know he was going to probably be used as a defender down there?
Yeah. I knew that's where Wilmer was planning to use him, and that's something we talked to Eriq about before I went on the loan. I said, you realize that this means that they're going to change you into a defender, and we'll look at you as a defender then, when this loan period's up and as you come back. And, he said that's what he wanted to try and do.
You don't see a lot of loans within the league, and in this case, you could be playing a meaningful game against a guy whose rights you control. Is that a little odd?
Yeah, I think there's some stipulation there. I don't know if he can play.
That makes sense.
So I'm not sure.
Anything else?
Okay, thanks.